Guys, has true anarcho-capitalism ever actually been tried?
As a matter of fact, it has been tried before anarcho-capitalism even had a name. But before I get started, that video is actually pretty funny, and I don't know if you're making fun of NCAPs or socialists who use that type of rhetoric, but either way, it's hilarious. With that being said, there are several examples of anarcho-capitalism succeeding throughout human history. Somebody in your comments noted medieval Iceland. While I'm not too familiar with medieval Iceland, one of the best examples of an anarcho-capitalist society would be the one that my Cajun ancestors set up when they first settled in Nova Scotia, Canada. The original Cajun settlement in the Americas was essentially what we would call anarcho-capitalist. The Cajuns set up a system that had no centralized government, everybody had private property rights, and people had the right to engage in free trade with whoever they wanted. Supposedly, this lifestyle was so effective that many Native American tribes engaged in free trade with the Acadians. In fact, it is arguable that the Iroquois also engaged in anarcho-capitalism, but that's a different story for a different time. However, there's a reason I'm a minarchist libertarian and not an anarcho-capitalist. Economist Milton Friedman argued that there should only be three functions of a government, first and foremost being military defense. While letting the people keep and bear arms does a lot to help deter aggression, it is not a functioning military in itself. There's a reason the very first thing stated in The Art of War by Sun Tzu is the art of war is vital to the state. While the Iroquois Confederation and the Cajun settlements in Nova Scotia were quite stable on their own, their great folly is they were unable to protect themselves from outward aggression. Eventually, after the 7 Years' War, the British Empire took control of Nova Scotia and sent the Cajuns into exile. By the American Revolution, the U.S. Continental Army started waging wars against the Iroquois who sided with the British. The reality is there are numerous examples of anarcho-capitalism succeeding throughout human history. But there is a very good reason why I no longer identify as an anarcho-capitalist. This is because I tried to write an anarcho-capitalist deconstruction of The Art of War, and I came to the same conclusion that Milton Friedman came to decades before I was even born. There is simply no way to privatize national defense. Without a standing army, you are subject to the whims of any invading force. A ragtag militia is not going to be organized enough to mount a proper resistance. So while anarcho-capitalism has indeed been stable and successful throughout human history, it is incapable of its own self-preservation in the face of war.